Hello everybody, welcome to part 2 of Minesweeper series, where we are creating Minesweeper game in C++ using SFML library. If you haven't watched the part 1, then go check it out. I'm super excited about this series. So in this video, we will create the grid and handle the mouse events. For those who haven't seen the part 1, let me tell you that this series have beginners to advanced level concept where we will be learning about some graph algorithms, and I think you guys will also enjoy and learn from this series. So let's get started. So before we move further, we will make some changes in the existing code to make it super neat and easy to read. Let's rename the draw method to display. It makes more sense. Now let's copy this code and paste it into display method. We need to call this display method in the main loop just below the handle events method. Now, let's go to game.hpp. Let's add comment over here for better readability. Now, let's create the grid. In C++, for creating grid, we will use 2D array. Let's define two constants, rows and columns. Keep in mind, in any programming language, the constants are named in capital letters. We will create two 12 by 12 2D arrays. First will be the reference or the original grid. And second will be the show grid, which will use for displaying, and we will do all the manipulations on this grid. Let's create the int mine counter for keeping track of how many mines we have placed. Let's create a method for filling the grid. Let's name it fill grid. Now, let's go to game.cpp. In fill grid method, first we will place the mines on the grid. For that, we will traverse 2D array. For traversing 2D array, we will require 2 for loops. For placing mines, we will take random number mod with 10. If the mod is 0, then we will place the mine on that square. And we will fill the show grid with 10. You can see the index in top right corner. Now, we will place the number of mines around the current tile. For that, we will check for all the direction. If an square contains a mine, then we will increase the count of mine around the tiles. For this, we will run 2 for loops, rows and column from -1 to 1. Let's print the grid. For that, we need to create print function. Let's create it above the game constructor. We will remove this afterwards. Let's call the fillGrid method in game constructor. Since we want it to be called when the game loads or the game object is created, let's build and run it. Here you can see the tile contains mines indicated by 9 and other tile contains the number of mines around them. Now let's render this on the game window. Let's go to game.hpp. Over here we need to create texture and sprite. Let's create the constant for square size. Now let's go to game.cpp. In game constructor, we need to load the texture from the file. Now, here we will specify the path relative to our executable. Since our executable is in build directory, so we will need to come back one directory and then go to asset directory, then images, and then name of the texture we need to load. Now let's go to update method, and here we will code the logic for drawing the texture. We need to set sprite position. For that we will use setPosition function. It takes two arguments, x position and y position. For now let's keep it 0, 0. Let's draw it on the window using draw method. It takes sprite as argument. For placing tiles one after other, we will multiply both I and j with square size. Let's build and run it. Here you can see the whole texture is getting displayed, but we want only the certain tile. For that we will use setTextureRect function. It takes the vector of x position, y position, width and height as argument. In x position, we will pass sGrid, ith row and jth column square and multiply it with square size. For y position, it will be 0. For width and height, we will pass square size. Let's build and run. Here you can see the window has black space. So let's change the size of the window. Since we have 12 rows and each square size is 48, so product of this will be our width and same for the height. Now let's build and run it. Now you can see the window is of proper size. Now let's handle the mouse events. Let's go to handle event method. Over here inside the while loop, we will check if the mouse left button is pressed. Here we need to pass clicked rows and clicked column. For that we will get the mouse position and we will divide it by square size. Let's go to game.hpp. Here let's create the integer vector for storing mouse position. Let's create clicked rows and clicked column variables. Now, if the row is clicked, then we will assign the S grid ith and jth square with the grid of ith and jth square. Let's build and run it. You can see that when we click the square, it is revealing the tie. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we will dive into graph algorithms. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for such more programming related tutorials. Drop any questions or feedback in the comment. I will get back to you. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one. Till then, happy coding.